so many books and that all, yeah. So, and that ain't so bad. Do you know that there was a restaurant below the library?
Oh, where was the library?
Huh?
Where was the library?
Across the street here.
Upstairs.
And there was a restaurant below it.
Upstairs.
You must remember the gal.
Well, there was a dentist there at
Huh?
one time too. And
Dr.
Miss
Giese
Doyle
was
was
in
up
there.
at the library.
Yeah, but there was a restaurant below there.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
At one
Oh.
time.
And that was during deer hunting time. It caught fire. But they got the fire out before it did too much damage there for a change. Yeah.
This is bonus coverage.
Yeah.
So,
This is just like the one that lures in.
yeah, right. It's just like bringing us in. So, welcome everybody. Wow, what a turnout to hear one of our distinguished community members, Ed Wargula, give a talk today. I just want to give you a little bit of logistics. So, the good news is there will be no Princeton Historical Society meeting tonight. It's only Ed. You see a lot of electronics up here. So, DC Johnson, who's the reporter at the newspaper, she wanted to come here and there'll be a story about Ed's talk in the newspaper coming up. But she wasn't able to make it tonight.
Oh, that's good. My picture was in there so big, it wasn't funny. I almost fell over when I saw it in there.
Your head is not that big, is it?
Oh,
So she might be tuning in here. That's why this is here. We might have to get up and answer that. Otherwise, we're recording tonight's talk, and it will be on our Historical Society website. So if you want to go back and, hear even more about what Ed had to say, or someone missed it and they wanted to hear about it, you'll be able to get it on our website. Probably within a couple weeks we'll have it up there. So,
yeah.
all right. So I'm. What did you call me? A transplant? I'm a transplant. So I'm
There
not
you
from. I'm not from this area. But I met Ed. Ed used to sit at the little booth at the flea market. The little information booth there. And I used to, I would be kind of done, but my family wasn't done. So I'd go over there and just kind of talk to Ed. That's when I first got to meet Ed and his lovely wife Lois. She used to sit there too. So that's how I got to meet him. And you all probably know him a lot better than me, but we're all going to get to know him pretty well right now. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ed. Are you ready? We've given him a few questions to answer, and he's probably just going to take it from there.
Well, at the flea market and stuff, I'm going to just tell you a little story about the flea market. When there was a gal right across a kitty corner that we used to be there painting windows and stuff and that on. She used to paint windows, little roosters and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I used to kid her about, did she paint the rooster yet for me to advertise. And funny thing, the last couple of years, well, when I used to be able to walk around the flea market, I had I got to stop and think, what was it, a nephew that was showing his stuff from Ripon? Right side of the flea market there. There was a nephew of mine from Ripon, and that also.
She's still there.
Yeah, she is.
So that's now. What do you want me to?
Well, so how old are you now, Ed? How young are you?
I'm 89 years old. I'll be 89 in the 25th of June.
You'll be 90.
You'll be 90.
I'll be 90 at the
25th of June. Okay.
No.
Wow. Pretty impressive.
What?
Were you raised
I was born and raised in this area. I don't know if anybody knows where the Manti place was on County J. It was the Arnie Mantis from his dad, Miller. Miller Implement actually owned the place years ago. Doc Miller, if anybody knew Doc Miller's dad owned the place there. And my dad rented that place for 13 years that we were on that place. So.
And that's where you were born?
That's where I was born. Yeah. That and my, I got to stop and think my brothers and stuff were born, and my one sister was born. One sister One sister was born in Ripon. My younger sister was born in Ripon, but my other sister, Lorraine, she's passed away now. That was Donald Bogutsky's. I don't know. A lot of us knew Donald Bogutsky, didn't you? And that was Donald Bogutsky's wife. And that they come over every so often, and visit and that all and that. Donald Bogutsky had a birthday too, just the other day. And every year I used to call him from. We always wintered in Texas, and I used to call him and that early in the morning and wish him a happy birthday. And he never could figure out for a good many years who that guy was that always called him and wished him a happy birthday. Yeah.
So now you were born there, you were raised there. Did you go to school in Princeton?
I went to the Oak Grove. Have you ever seen the Oak Grove School coming to Princeton? On J. There's a brick schoolhouse as you come around the corner and on J, County J. It stands kind of on a hill. And that's where I got my first education. A gal by the name of Miss Betke. I have her picture to home and everything. And that all. From Miss Betke, I went to Wilmer Gorski. Didn't anybody ever hear of Wilmer Gorski?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Wilmer Gorski was the second teacher, but it was during the Second World War. He got drafted, so that he was gone. Well, then I had a gal by the name of Mrs. Jerome Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
You should know Mrs. Jerome Marshall.
Sure.
Okay, I had her. Me and her never got along. I don't know, for some reason I got kicked out of school once. I sat on the front steps of the school and that all, and then I walked back home. My boss gave me heck because I was sitting on the steps. She says, "Why didn't you come home?" And that all. So I said I was afraid. You know how it goes. And
Did they let you back in?
Huh?
Did they let you back in?
Oh yeah, they let me back in. We had Mrs. Marshall. I got stopped and tell yeah, Mrs. Marshall. Then I forget who they. We only had. I tell you, country school. We only had about 12 kids. That's about all that we had in the country school.
In all the grades?
That was
12.
the whole total grades.
All the grades, 12
All the
kids.
grades. There was about 12 kids.
Wow.
Prackles, Lashinsky's, Carly Zicks, I don't know if you know Carly Zicks, and that all, and Bobby Zanto, and that all, and that. There were 3 schools that were consulted together into this school, to the Oak Grove School. There was the Huckleberry and the Montom schools. There were 2 other schools that were together and that all. Yeah, well.
Did you go to school after that school? then?
I went to, I got to stop and think, cause yeah, I went to Catholic school. Yeah, country school first, Catholic school next, and then when I got to 8th grade, I went to high school, and that all, and I graduated in '52 from the Princeton High School when it was on the, still on the lot yet.
The triangle?
I don't know, I had a principal by the name of Calhoun. Anybody remember Calhoun? Okay, Calhoun was our principal, and we didn't have no place to have any big audience that could be together in that all. So we used to, the guy that used to run the theater, Princeton Theater, we used to have to go into the theater and that all. When Calhoun started mentioning, he says, this has been the most interesting class that I've ever graduated. He says, it hasn't been the best, but the most interesting. Because there were some in there, you know, did you know Johnny Zielinski? He had a store downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, Big John?
Yeah, Big
Big
John had
John's
a store
Appliance?
down.
Okay.
And that all, yeah. He was one of mine, Ronnie Sullivan. And well, I don't know, Gibby, he must have been at different places because I've known Gibby my whole life course,
Hang
the
around with you.
of course, the thing of it is, the old place I used to meet them a lot of time was up to Sinus.
Yeah,
And then we used to race horses up from the Sinus place up to the railroad track. And but the thing of it is, they had a riding horse that they could beat us always, us guys there. The race going up to the railroad track.
Wow.
So, okay, let's go on. What else you want to know here? I got a whole list.
So you got out of school in '52.
Yes, I graduated from Princeton School in 1952, out of Princeton High School.
When did they take that school
What?
down? When did they take that down?
What, the high school?
Yeah.
Okay, let me think now. My Lorraine, my sister Lorraine was the first one to graduate from the new school. So I don't know when they took the thing down at all.
that would have been,
What?
that would have been 53.
I was going to say, your dad was on the school board, you should know. Yeah, his
My
dad.
sister was in the same class with Lorraine too.
Okay.
No,
No, they didn't take that high school.
Shirley?
no, I was there in '56 and it was still up.
Oh, okay.
'56, the school was still there.
'56, the school's, okay.
Yeah, I know Hanneman, we used to play football on where the school is built now. And for a mascot, we happened to have a billy goat to hold that we were raising, we brought the billy goat to school to be the mascot of the football team.
Were you the Tigers back then, or what was,
What?
were you the Princeton Tigers, or what were you,
I
the
don't
Princeton
know
Billy
what
Goats?
we were called.
Princeton Tigers.
Princeton Tigers?
There was convention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a Billy Goat for a mascot.
Yep. And if you want to, you have all of my annuals. I brought my annuals. Had 4 annuals, and I brought them, and
They're at the museum.
the pictures in there of the billy goat in there.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
So you got out of school, what did you do then?
Farm. Let's see how the heck that was. I worked for Elmer Krieger for a while, and I wasn't quite satisfied there. So I went to Marketan to
Eric Controvis.
Eric Controvis. I don't know if you know anybody by the name of Eric Controvis. I worked there because I could get 1 day a month off from work and that also, yeah.
1 day a month.
1 day a month, and I worked for $1 a day. That was my wages at that time, and after in '52 was $1 a day. Yep. So,
And what kind of farming was that?
cattle. We had cattle, pigs. Cattle and pigs, and when I was on the farm there, I was on the farm, Manatee Place on the other side of town, and that was just cattle and pigs, is all that there was there, and milk cows. That was milk cows and pigs, and that is what we raised on the Manatee Place, and that also. And well, it came there that my dad was on there 13 years. And the place next door came for sale. Vic Knock, I don't know if you ever knew him. Vic Knock, he worked for, in town here for
Miller Implement.
huh?
Miller Implement.
Miller Implement, you're right. Vic Knock worked there. And he had the place next door, and he had the auction there. So my dad took and bought that place for him. And then we were, us boys and stuff, we worked, everybody in the neighborhood, whoever wanted us boys, we had, we worked for them in the country, the neighbors all, through the Kaharskis and that all. And I had John Wargula, John and Wally, which was relation to me, and that was my dad's brother, and so.
How did Mancy's tie into that?
What?
Mancy's were right with with Eric Miller, how did that work out?
In
They
town
owned
here.
that whole corner.
Yeah, in town here, they were right across the street from the Historical Society, but that
That's
wasn't
right.
a historical society.
Right.
That was Edmund Piasecki's feed store. And then I bought when we were on the Manti place, they asked me if I wouldn't, the renter left the Manti place. Smoothie, there was a smoothie on that place. I don't know, some of you might have gone to school with a smoothie boy, and that he went to high school in Princeton. And they left there, and Arnold Manti asked if one of us boys would take the farm over and rent it. And he says, well, I says, I don't know if I will or not, because I says, we're getting married in May, and that all, and no, we're getting married in June. That not in May. We're getting married in June, and that all, and I'll have to ask the wife if she'd like the farm. Well, my dad says, and that all, and he says, well, it's too busy of a, he said, it's too busy of a time in June for planting corn and everything. He says, I was only 20 years old at that time when I met her. Of course, I met her. Well, I should have told, I'm ahead of my time.
How did you meet Lois?
Well, there's another good question. There's another good question. Well,
We'd like to hear this.
I'll tell you, if you want the true story, I'm gonna.
I want the honest
I don't.
truth.
I think I'm gonna cut it short. We went to a housewarming party to the neighbors. We did, and it was in a Quonset hut. They had live music there and everything, and dancing and everything else. And the party went on till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and that all. So I talked with her over there. That was just talk, not meaning anything, and that all. And I went home to help do chores and stuff. I made it to home to do help my dad or Trey Alma. I was working Trey Alma Krieger at the time, and I helped him do chores and stuff and that all. And then I went back there after that, and I was up at the kitchen table where we had the party the night before. And I was helping washing dishes is when I met her there. And I don't know, we got kind of acquainted there and that all. And then she was a neighbor. She was a neighbor of the people that we had the party to at Quonset hut and that all. And we kind of met there and started going together and that all. And then come to think of when some of that all was happening, Arnold Manti, his renter, left him, and that all, and he asked my dad if one of the boys would rent the farm, would care to rent the farm, and I said I would have to find first and ask my future wife if she would care to work on the farm. She was a farm girl too, living in Ripon there and that all, and she agreed to it. So we said yes, we would. But I says we're going to get married in June, and that all because I was only 20 years old. But we were going to wait till June to get married, because I was 21 in June. And my dad says, well, he says, I'll sign for you. So my dad signed for me to get the marriage license, and that so that we could get married. And that we were married in June.
May.
In May, sorry, here I go again. We got married in May instead of June. And good thing I got her with me.
You're going to be busy in June anyway, right?
Yeah, I know it. I know it. Yep. So in June,
And you leased that farm then?
yeah, we worked it on half.
Okay.
And we were on that farm for 5 years. We were on that farm for 5 years, and I said to her, if we're going to rent that farm, be on that farm for rent it for 5 years and work it on half. We're gonna look for a farm someplace to own. So we kind of looked around for a farm, and Fritz Swant, wasn't he the first time he ever was what do you call the guys that sell,
Swanson,
huh?
Swanson.
Yeah, Swanson.
Swanson
He was the
was
first
the
one that,
first one.
what do you sell, a guy that sells?
Realtors.
A realtor. That was the first
Farm.
piece, this farm we bought was the first realtor that sold the farm. We bought.
The first
that's
farm he ever
sold
sold.
land.
Yes.
Okay.
So we bought the farm in 1960. And we moved to where we are now. If you know where we live now, well, we moved to where we did now. And that all.
For us transplants, where do
Huh?
you live? For us transplants, where do you live now?
On the same place? Okay. We live on the J, County
West
J,
side.
Okay.
on
County J, like going
Mile
up like
Road. We live on Mile Road.
Oh, okay.
There's only us and our son and one other home house in between there, but that don't mean nothing there. And that live on Mile Road.
Okay.
And I tell you what, Bobby Swans was on the farm, wasn't he? He was on the farm. Now, during the wartime, if you wanted to get deferred, you'd have to be a farmer, and a farmer could defer people from the war. Well, he was on that farm for his father-in-law, Shedler, guy by the name of Shedler. He was farming on that farm there for Shedler, so that he could get deferred from having to go to the army and that all. And we bought that place there and that all. And of course, we did a heck of a lot of remodeling and fixing and finding parts, because he was into milking cows, but at the time he bought it, but then he went into beef, and he left them run all over the farm and stuff, all over the barn and the barn was a mess. The whole place was more or less a mess.
I hope you got a good deal.
Well, yeah, we got a good deal. I mean, but it was hard. It was hard. I mean, we had a hard pickings quite a while there and that, but we made it and stuff and that all. And then later on, well, I somehow got to be assessor for our township. So I was assessor. I had to go out and look at if you did any new buildings, if you did any new buildings. And another thing is, I also had to take the census for that agriculture census. If you had chickens, cows, pigs, and that all, I had to report that too. So I mean, the assessing wasn't. I mean, sure it took time, but I don't know. I managed to do it, and it gave us a little income. And then when the board of review come, you have to report that all at the board of review. You know, I hope you know quite a bit about running the township and stuff like that, and that also. We got through that, so and that also we graduate. And oh yeah, Fritz Swans was the one that, and here's the one that delivered the milk uptown, and that and so yeah.
Did you do assessing for a long time? Were you assessor for a long-
Until the next election or so.
Okay.
And till I mean, we kind of got on our feet a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fair amount of work, but and then also, yeah.
What did you farm?
Huh?
What did you have for a farm? Did you have dairy farm? or-
I stayed in dairies. I had pigs and sheep. I even had some sheep there on the farm that we raised. There's quite a and then I had pigs, sheep, and cows that I had milk cows. I said, oh, at the time, see, when we moved from the Manti place, for the Manti place over there, I was milking, doing the milking, the milk cows, everything was on half over there. So I ended up with 12 milk cows and a few pigs when I went over there. And I forget what the heck our first milk check was. I don't know what.
$23.
$23 was our first milk check. And that, but we made a go of it and that all, and then, and then all of a sudden she decided to start working at the bank, and that all,
Oh,
and
that's later.
that was way after that. So,
You started having family?
yeah, we had, there you. Yeah, we had 3 boys.
Okay.
Tom, Tim, and Terry. Tom was the oldest one. He's sitting there someplace. I don't know where he is. He's way back there. Tom is the oldest one. And there was Tim. He lives in he's out west someplace with his. Can you imagine when you get a son that how old you are when your son is retired? He retired. Believe it or not, he retired from Speed Queen. And that Tom did. And that, so,
When your son is 65 and older,
yeah,
that's when you're old.
yes, you're 65, yep, you're married 60, yeah, and so, yeah, yep.
But you worked other places, ever, tell where you worked in town here.
Did you work in town?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how the heck I ever got at it, but I worked for Pulvermakers, butchering pigs. I worked for Pulvermakers, and I also went with Lois. There was Lois there. They
Lois Pulvermakers.
manufactured ice, and we used to go around the country, all over heck, delivering ice.
Ice from the river or ice that they made?
Ice that they made.
Oh, they made the
Yeah,
ice.
he had his own ice maker and
Okay.
everything, and a bagger. He had a bagger and everything that they had. There was so many pounds went in the bag, and then there was an automatic Norm Pulvermaker. He was quite an inventor. And he tried a lot of different things that he tried and stuff and that all. And I was with Lois delivering ice and that. And then I also did butchering for the Pulvermakers and stuff and that all. And that was then.
You
And then.
also worked downtown.
Oh yeah,
Bowling alley
also
and
like
Bernie's
downtown here now, and that I still went out with Pulvermakers, wiring and stuff and that all too. And
What did you do at the bowling alley?
the bowling alley, somehow somebody.
The best pin setter
I
my
used to set
parents
pins.
ever had.
I set pins.
You were the best pin setter my parents ever had.
There you go. Yeah, I set pins.
Yep, for Whitey and Verona.
Yep,
Really?
yep. That ain't so bad. Do you know, I'll tell you another story. You had a brother that lived, not a brother, but a son, up in Alaska, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in New Mexico now.
And, and there's
You saw him.
I
At
saw
the
him
border.
there at the post. There's a post there where you put your name on where you were from
Yeah.
and that all, at the mile post.
Yeah.
And I met his son
Yeah.
up there in Alaska.
In Alaska?
Yeah,
Wow. That's a small world.
yeah. Oh, but that's another different story again.
Can I ask you about setting pins?
Oh, I set pin for.
So where are you physically when those pins are getting?
I'm sitting on a bench. I'm sitting on a. You get out of the pit, and you crawl up on a bench like that, about that high up.
Yeah.
But that ain't so bad. But once in a while, you'll get a pinch, a bowler that rolls. Will grab another ball. And roll the second ball down, and you see that thing coming, you'll get the heck out of there. That all. Her aunt,
Almost killed him that one night.
her aunt was the one that grabbed the other second ball.
Did you ever get hit by a pin?
No, I didn't. I managed to get out of there. Used to be a lot of hard bowlers. You take it. What's his name from White Lake there? Was He
Sure.
owned White Lake. He was a heck of a
Sure.
big, yeah.
Okay.
He was,
Oh,
he,
Frank, yeah.
he was a hard bowler in that also. Yeah, I set pins there and that also. I don't know how I got setting pins, how I got all of those jobs, and I still managed farming and that also.
You were young back then.
You also worked for
What is that?
Bernie's Meat Market. They don't even know about Bernie's.
Bernie's Meat Market?
Oh yeah, we were at a church picnic. We went always to the Princeton church picnic. Well, we belonged to the Catholic Church in Princeton, and Bernie come walking through there, and he asked me. He says, "You want to help? You know butchering and stuff." He says, "You want to come over and help me with butchering and stuff and that all?" And that, so I went there maybe once a week. Well, we butchered once a week usually. Pigs and cows and stuff like that we butchered at slaughterhouse in Nashcoro. A house ain't there anymore in Nashcoro
Okay.
and that all.
You've done a lot of things.
And then after that, I got into by pulvermakers and did butchering for pulvermakers and stuff like that, yeah.
You worked at Tank Technology.
And I used to, what was that?
You worked at Tank Technology too.
Yeah, but that was the last,
Yeah.
that was the last end.
Tell them where Henry Manthe was,
Well, yeah,
downtown. Henry Manthe?
yes,
Where
Tell
was
them
he
that was
downtown?
well, Henry Manthe, we bought machinery.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, we bought Henry Manthe's place was just right across from the Historical Society, that building right there.
Yep.
And Miller Implement that was. And we bought the machinery from him. We bought a 350 International tractor from him. And when we was on the Manthe place there, and that he managed that I made payments on it and everything. And the boy on the farm, Terry's on the farm now, and he still got that 350 International that we're still using. And he's still using on the farm there and that also.
So before tractors, did you farm with animals?
What?
Did you farm with animals at all? Like
Well, we had
oxes?
cows.
You had cows?
But
Oh, yeah, okay.
horses,
We had
meat.
cows, and on the farm over there, we had cows and
Horses.
some sheep
Horses.
and some
We started
pigs
with horses.
and that all. And we fatten out steers and stuff that we fattened out on the farm there and that also.
Did you use horses for farming though? Like to
well,
pull your plows?
okay, I gotta stop and think. When I was still with my dad on the farm there, on the Manthe farm, see, my dad was on the Manthe farm too for 13 years. We had horses then that we had a hay loader during that time when old man